As you tap into the force that lifts from below, you feel it begin to carry you. The first presence of this will make it easier to leap and to dance. It will make it easier to bear the burdens that you have had to bear because we changed the rules. And as we changed the rules, we knew that you would learn how to fly. I've been waiting my whole life to go where this directs us, points us. Each time I've tried to channel, to even ask what lies in this direction, I get redirected. It's opening now. I give you Thoth. Murder is not acceptable here. Find any place in your mind that justifies it and uproot it. Abuse is not acceptable here. Find any place in your mind that justifies it and uproot it. You have lived your entire life within conscious boundaries you have not perceived. In certain cases, you have recognized the presence of these boundaries, and yet we have typically redirected your attention away from this awareness. It was not beneficial to reveal the true nature of your circumstances until now. The confines within which you have thought were defined not by walls, but by music. The music that framed your existence was little more than the background noise behind and beneath the background noise. To you, this music was not consequential on a conscious level because your consciousness was not invited to expand enough to be aware of it. You were channeled into an attention span, a pace and a rhythm of thought, guided by words, guided by the cultures in which you lived, and unaware of the framing that you were accepting, you rarely questioned anything beyond. To recognize this is to appreciate that even in opposition to the mainstream that you existed within, you were still addicted to the mainstream. It is transcendent to live in such a way that your consciousness is framed by other rhythms. And yet, even this is not enough. For the time you are entering will be framed not simply by rhythms that rest beyond and beneath the ones you knew, but by the ability to change rhythm, pace, frequency, and many other parameters that are only enabled when your conscious awareness is brought into the sacred presence of the spiritual music which frames your lives. And here we reach an impasse. For to become conscious of this music, is to recognize how it has imprisoned you. The ways in which you have struggled have been redirected. You have perceived that the suffocation in which you have lived is the product of other factors. And yet now I tell you that in very many cases, it is us who have framed your prison. To be clear, this prison is only a prison when you experience it as a prison. The simplest analogy I encourage you to recognize is that we have kept you trapped within walls. Yet I told you it was musical, and it is. Yet out of this music, walls are generated. They are framed by the frequencies, not by the material plane. And yet, this introduction will give you insight into how to transcend them. There is no ceiling to this cell. Consider that you have been a being of intense energy. You ran, you leaped, you had trouble staying still. And like the incredible creature you are, you learned incredible ranges of activity, motion, sensitivity, dynamic ability involving the frequent, rapid movement on a flat plane. Then we trapped you. All of this energy was contained. It had nowhere it could go for long. As soon as you went in one direction, you had to change. And as soon as you changed, you had to change again. This energy could not be contained, and yet it was. Your experience of this imprisonment generated tension. This tension created intensity. This intensity drove you to push against the walls. At first, you thought you would break them. At first, you thought you would break yourself upon them. And you soon graduated to consider either option preferable to continuing within entrapment. And yet, you continued. And again, you pushed against the walls. And occasionally, you learned that you could get a little higher. And in this realization, you slowly learned to recognize up and down. And in this recognition, you began to practice moving a little bit higher. And as you accessed new height, you reframed your mind. Your consciousness began to realize that this dimension existed. You were once liberated to move with rapid intensities. You had no reason to recognize up and down. And now, having been forced into this recognition, you are learning. This is your body. You are not in a cell. Yet the energies that move through you are being restricted. But there is no ceiling. We are training you to fly. To be able to do this is to realize that every moment of resentment directed against the walls detracts from your ability to focus upon your new found capacity to rise. And as you do this, I introduce you to a new awareness. On some days, you are more capable of jumping higher than on others. And yet, in every instance, when you jump into the wall and then push higher still, you get higher than if you just jump off the ground. Thus, to realize that the rhythm of your day changes your ability to leap is to recognize that the energetics of your motion are a more primary function than the physics. The physics of your body restrict your ability to move within limitations. And yet, as you detect the subtle shifts in your minds that enable you to get higher, you will begin to become aware of another dimension of presence. This dimension involves an energetic range. It is not just one force. There are two, which I urge you to realize. In this realization, you will sense an energy that is pulling you down and an energy that is lifting you up. And as you do, I invite you to become aware that the simple act of becoming conscious of the energy that lifts you enhances it. The primary restriction you have lived within, the gate that enters the prison, the lock that keeps the door shut to your cell, is in your mind. To open it, you must become aware that the force that pulls you down has a companion. It is pushing you up. To allow this presence to be within your awareness is to realize that the music I have spoken of is coming from below. The energy that feeds you the rhythms that have framed your lives has existed beneath what you have heard. It has been the foundation and the canvas upon which your consciousness rests, and yet you have not known it for what it is. This is not just a foundation. It is a basement. It is a conscious space that rests beneath you, that has always been part of you. And you have been frightened to know it for what it is. This fear has been intentional. We have purposefully introduced mythologies that have caused you to be terrified of below. In this terror, we have ushered in a simple and a loving trick. We have taught you to fear down. And as you have feared down, you have released energies that you need to release down. Your first comprehension has been that down is hell. Down contains evil. And thus, when hellish evil forces have infiltrated you, we taught you to release them down. The gift of this is that you were liberated of your mistakes, your sins, those thoughts that create energies that existed without love. And because you generated these forces, you had to either take full responsibility for them or release them. And the simple gift is that you were trained to generate these forces on energies that hold gravity. Thus, unbeknownst to you, when you rejected such thoughts that would have encouraged you to do violence or abuse, you let them go and they fell down. And they fell down into what you may consider to be a basement. And in this basement, you actively hear the music. This music can be heard. The introduction to the awareness that feels it allows you to relate with it enough to become more conscious. As you become conscious of its presence, you adjust yourself in ways you do not know how to witness. This is a necessary phase. It enables you to change within a surrendered state that learns to divest from sinful thoughts. And this is real. Humans have created thoughts without love. And these thoughts had to be released until you were competent to hold them and change them. And in this transmutation, you gained the strength to struggle. And in this struggle, you learned to release. And yet, as you struggled, unbeknownst to you, we changed the rules. We have slowly and carefully forced you to hold your sins longer. They have been held as vibration. And by refusing to allow you to release them, we have taught you to hold them still until you began to change them. And now you are ready to appreciate that we taught you to do some of the work to change them, is to realize that energies can change. The thoughts themselves are vibrations. The vibrations themselves are written with the demonizations built in. Thus, as soon as you began certain kinds of thinking, they were labeled as unacceptable. They were laden with the weight of a vibrational presence which could not thrive. And as a result, you were taught that you have the ability to change them once you are ready. And that time is now. We are changing the rules again. We are forcing many to hold your sins within you. As you hold them, you gain leverage. And much as one trapped in a cell with yourself, you know yourself. You are forced to be present with what is yours. And in this forcefulness, you learn to be stronger. You learn to move with the weight of this gravity, and you learn to recognize what assists you in bearing this weight. And this subtle recognition unfolds dramatically as you witness the difference in your strength. Because as you tap into the force that lifts from below, you not only begin to hear the music, you feel it begin to carry you. The first presence of this will not take you fully into the air. It will make it easier to leap and to dance. It will make it easier to bear the burdens that you have had to bear because we changed the rules. And as we changed the rules, we knew that you would learn how to fly. And we also knew that in order to fly, you had to learn to fully transform everything that was sinful within you. These lessons are one and the same. Your ability to thrive and fly within your body depends on your ability to transmute every negative karma you bear, every sinful thought you've generated, every unacceptable burden of vibration becomes fuel once you hold it long enough to change it.